Alrighty, welcome to the Board Game Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm Nick Andrews. Today I would like to tell you a little bit about my new blog. So this is under the Meeple Leaf brand, for lack of a better word. I think that's a pretty good word, brand. And it's called the Board Game Travel Blog. So I send it out as part of my newsletter. And my newsletter is now twice a week. So Mondays I send out whatever the new episode of the podcast is, also events that I have coming up that week, including any special ones that I had just announced. Maybe it's a few weeks ahead. So that's Mondays, and it's all just text. It's very straightforward. And then Fridays, I've been sending out the board game travel blog. I think this is my fourth week now, and so far this has been a lot of fun to do. So the long-term idea of this is, when it's safe to travel again, I do plan to do lots and lots of traveling. And as I'm traveling, one thing I like to do is meet up with the local board game community wherever I go, check out their board game cafes, restaurants, game stores, that kind of thing. You know, just interact with people from a place that I normally wouldn't go to. And that's kind of a staple of when I travel. One of my plans is to play games and meet some local people. It also gives a good starting space because if I'm going to be somewhere for more than a few days, then other than just sitting in my hotel or Airbnb or whatever, it's good to get out there and talk to some people. And board games are a great way to do that because there's really no barrier. Like, I can just sit down with total strangers and play a game or two and chat it up, and it's not weird at all. Like, there's not a lot of other things that you can do that with. So I plan to start in Asia, specifically Vietnam. Board games aren't super big there, but I think there is a little bit. Actually, that's a good topic for one of my blog posts, is interview someone from Vietnam about the state of board games there. Is there any awareness? Are there any popular games? And so on. In the meantime, since I can't travel, what I've been doing is interviewing guests who have traveled and played board games in different countries, or maybe they are from different countries. They have been to conventions in Canada and all over the world. And it's really cool to get their experiences and hear their thoughts about what is different among board game communities around the globe. And also what kinds of things they've been doing during the pandemic. Have they still been playing games? Have they gone online? That kind of thing. So this is the Board Game Travel Blog, and I've been posting one guest interview posting each week, and I'll continue to do that. If you haven't read it, I definitely recommend checking it out. I do post it to my Facebook, my Meeple Leaf Facebook page. So that's facebook.com/MeepleLeaf. If you'd like to sign up, you can just go to the Facebook page, and then there's a sign up button. So yeah, it's kind of misleading. So sign up means like sign up for some kind of information from a Facebook page that someone manages, like a business or an organization. And then that'll take you to, it's got a link, it'll take you to MailChimp, and then you can sign up for the blog post that way, or you can just see it on Facebook, but things do tend to get lost in the ether of all the information. This has been a lot of fun to do, and I'm refining my process for questions, and also at the beginning, I wasn't giving people a chance to introduce themselves, so that's one thing I've been doing. Okay, a couple guests that I've had on so far. So I did Jeremy Rosenhart. He is a local Vancouver designer of Wizard Thieves, and then he has another game coming up soon. He'll also be on the podcast in a few episodes, so check that out. He traveled across Europe with a friend for like 2 months, and they were playing games the whole time, so he talks a bit about that experience. Also, Dennis Ryan. He's originally from Ireland. He's also from Vancouver now, and he went to this convention called GaelCon in Ireland that used to be held in a castle. How awesome is that, right? And coming up this week, I haven't released it yet, but this can just be a sneak peek. So this is from Alicia Friedkin. She's also an event organizer in Vancouver. She's been running West End Games Night for years and years now. And she's a member of the LGBT community. So one of the questions I asked her was, what do you think about representation in games? You know, how far have we come? How much farther do we have to go? So some really cool insight from my various guests, and they all have very different backgrounds. Oh, my first guest was Rudolph de Tome. So he's originally from France, and he also lives in Vancouver now. Yeah, you get in Vancouver people from all over the world. So he would normally go to Essenspiel in Germany every year, but he didn't this year. So he talks a bit about his stories from that and why he misses it. So one reason I'm kind of doing this is to keep people in touch with gaming and, you know, reflect on fun and positive experiences from the past. All right, that's it for this episode. Pretty straightforward. Starting next episode, it's episode 21. So I'm switching to a new format. It's the interview format. I've kind of been leading up to this. And this current episode, the present one, is the end of kind of the first season of the podcast. Starting from next episode, it'll be all interviews all the time. And I like doing the solo ones. I find it's good to organize my thoughts, and hopefully you find it interesting too. But I'm pretty sure you'll find the interview ones much more interesting rather than just me talking. You'll get to hear some perspectives from other people throughout the board game industry. So first up, we have Chris Cormier, who is from Geeky Goodies. So he is the founder and designer at Geeky Goodies. They make all kinds of board game related stuff like t-shirts. He's a graphic designer, web designer, so he's really good at making these fun, geeky clothing that you can buy from his website. You can also get mugs, you can get mouse pads, you name it, he's got it. So check out the episode on that next week. For the podcast, I try to keep it within 15 minutes. Of course, the interviews are much longer than that. So the podcast will just be an abbreviated version of the interview. So I've already edited it. It's 15 minutes and it's really cool. Check that out. That's Chris Cormier on the next episode of the Board Game Entrepreneur Podcast. Thank you so much for listening and for letting me be part of your extended gaming life. Take care and happy gaming.